I seen this post on social media the other day, basically said something along the lines of, don't follow your mind, don't follow your heart, because your heart is just gonna get you hurt or something like that. And I really hope us as a collective choose to trash this narrative sooner than later. I used to be a person that claimed that they were cold-hearted and, I'm not trusting my heart. And I used to live in that narrative, I prided myself on it because I was like, I feel like not giving my heart to anyone is the best thing to do. Not putting my heart in anything minimizes the risk of me getting my heart broken. And honestly, I feel like people who live in that narrative, they think it makes them cool to be like, yeah, bro, I'm not giving my heart to nobody. I'm heartless. I'm cold-hearted out here. Really, it makes you lame. It cripples you. It subjects you to a mediocre life. When you decide that you're no longer going to let your heart be in control of where you go in this life, you're deciding to live a mediocre, crippled, lame life. Because your brain, your mind, if you trust in your mind too much, solely into your brain, your mind is meant to keep you safe. So if you're always living from your mind, you're always gonna play it safe. If you're constantly living a life where you play it safe, you're not gonna be above average in anything. You're gonna be mediocre in everything. Because your mind is never gonna allow you to put yourself out there enough to, risk anything to potentially be the best version of yourself, or to potentially strive in the aspect that you came here to strive in. The reason that following your heart is the best way to live this life and is the greatest compass for this life is because your heart is the only because your heart is the creator. You can only create from your heart. All forms of creativity and imagination stem from the heart. Yes, your mind is the tool that's used to bring them to life, but the feeling that you have in your heart is what's guiding you to create things, what is guiding you to create a life and to follow a path that aligns with your soul. Your soul is tied up to your heart, not your mind. Your mind is essentially a tool, and when used properly, you can maximize the passions and the calling of your heart. But if you're overusing it, it's going to be to your detriment. Think of a pencil sharpener, right? If you overly use a pencil sharpener, even when you don't need to, you're going to get to a point where your pencil is this small and you just wasted so much lead, and now your ability to create things and bring things to life, write them down on paper, draw things, whatever it is, it's minimized, it's lessened because you overly used this tool. You know what I'm saying? Your mind is, in the same sense, is meant to keep you sharp. Is meant to help you sharpen your skills and help you sharpen the skills that are going to allow you to bring your heart's desires into reality. But if you're constantly using this tool and only focus on staying sharp and surviving and playing it safe, you're going to get to a point where you have no creative energy left in you. You're never gonna feel like you have enough to create, because your heart is what makes you feel secure in creation. Your heart is what allows your creativity to be expressed to the world. It's where your creativity is rooted, and it works with your mind to bring that into the physical realm. However, if it wasn't for your heart, you would not have the desires you do. If we lived and we just had our brain and our mind, the only thing we would worry about is eating, sleeping because of our circadian rhythms, and staying alive. That would make for a pretty fucking boring life. Would you invest in a video game and that's all you did? That all you could do in the video game was eat, sleep, and like just go through your day-to-day life, like, and just exist? No, you buy video games that allow you to create things, destroy things. You know, you want to have some type of control in the game. And if you didn't have your heart to guide you to the things that you want to create or you want to destroy, or, you know, like, if you didn't have this heart center and you didn't have this energy of your heart, your life would be so lame. It literally would be lame. You would be crippled. You would be existing at the level of I don't even know. You would be functioning at the level of a robot. Like, you just do what's necessary. When you're only doing what's necessary, like I said, you're never going to be the best at anything. You're never going to be the best version of yourself if you only do what's necessary. You're literally subjecting yourself to a mediocre ass existence because you're accepting mediocrity from yourself. You are defined by whatever you give your heart to. So, like, let's put it this way. Think of somebody, think of yourself. You know, when we think of someone and we say, the things that we associate them with the most are the things that they are most passionate about and the things that they seem to have invested most of their time and emotions into. So, like, if I'm constantly feeling the feelings of the past, if I'm constantly reminiscing on the memories of the past, I'm defined by my past. If I'm constantly being defined by a vision of the future and a feeling of the future and this creative energy of creation, then I'm going to be defined by the future and my vision for my life ahead. You know, people who are codependent in relationships, I can speak for this one because this is me. This used to be me. This used to be my story. Very codependent in relationships. I would give my entire heart to whoever I was with romantically and end up being defined by the relationship. And when the relationship or that person didn't fill me up or didn't bring me what I wanted, and because people can't make you happy. People can't deliver to you what you really want, because people don't have the qualities and they don't have the experiences to birth what you want into existence. I'll get into that. If I'm constantly defining myself through somebody else, if I'm constantly giving my entire heart to somebody else, then I'm going to be defined by them. And then when what they do or what they don't do, it affects my entire life. That's codependency. People who are passionate about their work and who are always investing, they're always feeling emotions surrounding their work. They're defined by their job. When you have a certain feeling over and over again, then it's solidifying certain thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like, thoughts do create emotions, but emotions are the most substantial form of frequency, energy, and exchange in this reality. Like, when you manifest something, your thought isn't the greatest factor. It's the feeling that you feel. You need to feel as if you already have something. So when we're constantly feeling certain emotions around certain things, emotions coming from our heart, when we're constantly feeling these emotions, we're being defined by that reality. We're being defined by these circumstances. Now, what I was saying earlier is you cannot allow other people to define you. You cannot fully give your heart to other people. You cannot fully, I don't think, give your heart to one thing unless it's your life purpose, I guess. But even then, you know, this life, we came here to enjoy a plethora of things. But when I was saying earlier about you can't give your heart to someone, you can't hand your key to this life to someone else and expect them to be able to unlock the door that you came here to unlock. No, that's not how it works. Like, you came here with a certain set of ingredients, you know, your qualities, your traits, your attributes, your experiences, because you're meant to make a certain thing out of them. Like, your ingredients, what you have, all that is you, is not going to make the same thing as someone else because you don't have the same ingredients. What I was saying to someone yesterday in a tarot reading, it's like, you cannot fully give your heart to someone else and expect them to bring forth the life that you desire and bring forth the feelings that you expect to feel in this life, because they did not come here to walk the path that you were already preordained to walk. Like, if I have the ingredients to make a cherry pie, I'm not going to be able to sit there and use all that I am and all that I have to make a chicken pot pie. Like, that's just not how it works. So it's like the same with life, the same with creating a reality. Same thing that goes into baking and cooking, same thing that goes into creating your reality. You can't expect to create a reality. You can't expect to create a dish that you don't have the correct tools, equipment, feelings, passions, attributes, and experiences for. My hand just farted. I know that I'm getting off on like a tangent and I'm talking fast and I'm like passionate about this, but I really wanted to like touch on the fact that like this narrative where it's like I'd rather just play it safe and not live in my heart is literally like the kryptonite to this world. Like, I feel like personally we're all superheroes and we all come here with different strengths and weaknesses, and that's what makes us beautiful. And choosing to not embrace that is literally just choosing not to play the game. So like, you came here to play a game and then now it's like, oh, I'm just not gonna play, I'm just gonna act like an NPC and decide that I'm not worthy of being a substantial character in this life, in my own life, in my own game, in my own reality. It's important that you follow your heart, because without your heart, you're literally subject to such a dull life. If we couldn't feel feelings, imagine that. Imagine if you couldn't feel any feelings. The world would be gray. And people do that to themselves. I've done that to myself in the past. Like, it's like, basically what I was trying to say, I guess basically to wrap this up, is to say that people, when you think that you're just shutting your heart off, that's never what's happening. You're never just shutting your heart off. Like, it's not possible. You wouldn't be able to be alive without your heart. So when people live in this reality of like, oh, I'm just gonna decide not to live from my heart, I'm just gonna not listen to my heart, you're still being defined by your heart. And you're giving your heart to these past circumstances that hurt you. You're giving your heart to this feeling of unworthiness. You're giving your heart to, and you're being defined by what made you want to shut your heart off in the first place. What made you not want to listen or follow your heart in the first place. There's no shutting your heart off. You're always being defined by what you're feeling and what you're giving your heart to. So by saying, oh, I'm just not going to listen to my heart and I'm going to live from my mind, you're still being defined by your heart. You're just being defined by a really inadequate and unsubstantial deliverance of your true being. Like, you know, when people get famous and like the music industry, there's like this whole thing about like selling your soul. And honestly, I feel like when someone decides, oh, I'm not going to follow my heart and I'm just going to listen to my mind, you are selling your soul. It's not about money. But at the end of the day, you're deciding, hey, I'm not going to connect with my heart, therefore I'm not going to connect with my soul and my inner being. I'm going to sell that to this narrative to really, if you're not using your heart, like if you're not using your heart to your best capabilities, you're able to be manipulated easier, because you're not defined by who you really are. You're being defined by your past circumstances. You're being defined by your external reality. So it's like your heart is always being used, and if you're not using it, someone else is using it. And so to live in this narrative where it's like, oh, I'm just not going to listen to my heart, I'm not going to follow my heart, is like, it sounds so paradox. It's such a paradox. It's like, it's literally idiocracy, because what do you mean you're not listening to your heart? You're always listening to your heart. You're just giving your heart to the wrong things now. And if something in the past you gave your heart to and it ended up hurting you, you decided that your heart was to blame. No, that was your external reality showing you that whatever you were pursuing was not in alignment with who you really are. It wasn't in alignment with your soul. It wasn't in alignment to who you're truly meant to be in this life. Like I said, we all come here with our own ingredient package, and we are meant to create something unique, the opposite taste of you. Like, why would you align with somebody that isn't going to contribute to what you bring to the table? It's just not a thing. Like, I'm not going to eat mac and cheese and put syrup on it. I mean, maybe for some people that's a thing, but like, I'm not going to mix my mac and cheese and my ice cream. Like, they're both amazing in their own sense, but like, to bring them together would just be to violate and disrespect what each brings to the table. It would be to take each of their uniqueness for granted. So like, if you followed your heart and it got you hurt, it was to teach you a lesson that we need to be hurt in this life. You know, like, that's how people respect you, and that's how you learn to respect yourself, because you show yourself that you're able to get through things. Side note, but it was either meant to teach you a lesson or show you that this isn't really in alignment with you. This is what you think you need, but it's not really what your heart is in alignment with. So I know this video is kind of all over the place and kind of fast, like these squirrels in my backyard, but I don't know, it was on my heart and I felt like getting it off my chest. I feel like someone maybe needs to hear it, as always. But yeah, I really hope this was able to be digested, and I hope you understand this. I hope it planted some seed that at the end of the day, you're always being defined by what you're giving your heart. So if you're not filling your heart up, you're being defined by a lack. You're being defined, you're a lack of this, you're being a shell of the person that you're meant to be. Your heart is always the defining factor in your life. And if you don't like the way your life's looking or the way your life is headed, it's because your heart is not in the right place. So I love you guys, and as always, connect with me on Instagram, social media. I love you, and have a blessed day. My intention for this video is that this rings a truth, it sends a frequency to your heart that aligns you with your most optimal timeline, that aligns you with the things meant for you, that helps you, that gives you the ingredient list. No, it gives you the instructions for your ingredients. Yeah.